Welcome to the party.
Hey everyone, Clarkisjar here, welcome back to another video. Today I am back and today we'll be talking about as to why The Reckoning failed Black Ops 6 Zombies. Now let it be known, I still love Black Ops 6 Zombies even after the controversial ending of The Reckoning and The Reckoning map as a whole. I personally like the map, I personally enjoy the gameplay, and tiny bits of story I genuinely do enjoy, but the majority of it with the story was a major letdown for Black Ops 6 Zombies and potentially a major letdown for the future Call of Duty Zombies. But I'll talk about the future Call of Duty Zombies in another video. Let's talk about The Reckoning. Now, to start with the positives, the map layout is good and unique. Compared to Die Rise, the verticality in this map is great and it is fun to transport between tower to tower. I really do enjoy it, and that is generally how Die Rise should have been, an easy way to travel between building to building without having to rely on buildables and many other things. So honestly, shout out to the map layout. Along with that, the uber close enemies are great. They're not easy, but they're not too difficult either. I think they're great. The vermin and parasites granted may be on this map, but I generally hardly notice them because the uber close enemies just take up the majority of the map and they're just that fun of enemies to go up against. The Wonder Weapon quest itself is great. It's one of my favourite Wonder Weapon quests of all time. I like how they tied the Forsaken into the Wonder Weapon quest, especially when we get to go up against a version of the Forsaken where he's an uber close. I genuinely think that is cool as well. Shout out to the Wonder Weapon quest, sure, and give us more quests like that please. I like how it's a Nathan-esque boss fight from Terminus. The Wonder Weapon itself is decent. It's not the best, it's not the worst, but it did just get patched to apparently where it's buffed now, so I'll need to see how it is then. But from now, from what I've played, it's alright. I haven't tried the new two variants either, so there you go, I can't really speak on those two. But I do have to say, I'd rather prefer a unique Wonder Weapon compared to the older Wonder Weapons that we've had in the past. I only give a pass really to the Liberty Falls jet gun, as the jet gun was in transit, which is ranked as one of the worst maps of all time, and the jet gun not really being good on that map. But the jet gun in BO6 is actually really good, so that's like the only pass I kind of give it. But again, I'd rather prefer a unique Wonder Weapon over a Wonder Weapon that we've seen in the past. The Easter egg hunt itself was amazing. This was ranked as the longest Easter egg hunt ever in the Dark Ether era of Call of Duty Zombies, being 8 hours and 21 minutes. Honestly, it was great hunting this with my friends, and in the last 2 hours of the hunt I saw my other friends complete the S.A.M side where you have to defeat S.A.M and Richtofen family saved. So honestly, shout out to all the people that hunted the egg. It was a lot of fun, and granted, the only reason why it was so long is because people were stuck on the mop and bucket step of the Easter egg and you had to clean the fungo head. That's like some Exo Zombies ass step, but hey, every other step made sense and it genuinely turned out to be a good hunt. The Easter egg itself, again, is genuinely fun. Outside of the hunt, I actually enjoyed the Easter egg, so shout out to Trevor for that one. Along with that, the two boss fights at the end were amazing. It gave me a Black Ops 2 Zombies Victus type Easter egg vibe where you could choose which main Easter egg you want to do. Do you want to do the Maxis side or the Richtofen side? And you could choose which boss fight you want to do and it would give you a different ending, being the Samantha AI boss fight or the Richtofen boss fight, which one of them is really difficult at the moment, being the Richtofen boss fight, which I'm still trying to complete solo. On top of that, the round 100 Easter egg is also on Reckoning, where if you go into the boss fight round 100, a hardcore version of both boss fights do activate, so shout out to Trevor for that because I really liked that with Shard Vale. And on top of that, the end cutscene, in terms of the finale part of the end cutscene, the graphics were nice. I loved the ending that Richtofen got, his happy ending with his wife and child returning, and Sam of course achieving her wish if you chose the Sam ending, where she recreates Sam's body from Cold War, takes over that body and has Dark Ether powers. As right now, no one knows what ending is canon right now, but the first half of both those endings are really good in my opinion. The only problem is that there was really no dialogue, which was kind of shit. But then of course we get to the end part and the OG4, Richtofen, Takeo, Dempsey and Nikolai are back. But this isn't Primus, this isn't Ultimus, this is a new version of the OG4, which I am personally happy about. If it was Primus or Ultimus, I'd be jumping out the window fucking pissed. But I only say this because a lot of people are saying the Black Ops 4 Zombies ending is retconned. It's not really. On one hand, it's not Primus or Ultimus. So for people saying, oh, they've brought them back, no, not entirely. They've brought a new version of those characters back. But Primus and Ultimus are still dead, so they've not retconned the characters themselves. It's just this is a new version of those set characters. But then there comes the whole thing with the multiverse. Nikolai destroyed the multiverse and everything was subdued into the Dark Ether. But in the first half of the ending cutscene of The Reckoning, you see the Sentinel artifact kind of make a new opening of the multiverse, and that's what people are speculating, because the one in Tag the Tone where Nikolai closed the multiverse compared to when The Reckoning is opening up a multiverse, they kind of look similar. Again, we're not sure if the Sentinel artifact is opening up the multiverse again. That's what it looks like. So we're just kind of going on that hunch, and that would make sense as to why these OG4 characters are back. But still, the way they were introduced was hot garbage. I like the fact that they're back. I like it's a new version of the OG4. I just hate how they were introduced back, which is another video I'll make another time. But I did ask your guys' thoughts on Twitter on what you guys think about the Reckoning, and this is what you guys said. We got one from Tragic, and he says, shit's kinda ass. Don't question what that image is. We got one from Mr. Johnny Jr., and he says, it's an A- to B+ tier map. Good layer, but confusing. But the Easter egg is really good, and fun boss fight is awesome and difficult and fun. Ending cutscene is very satisfying and wholesome. Plus, maybe, just maybe, if they stay on the right track with Black Ops 7 Zombies can be great and good just like Black Ops 6 Zombies. Now, I do think Black Ops 6 Zombies is great. I actually really love all the maps. It's just the story had a lot of 180s from Cold War to then Shattered Veil to then the Reckoning. Like, there was a lot of confusing stuff. But again, I'll explain that in a different video in terms of the story of Black Ops 6 Zombies as a whole. But again, I have to agree. The Reckoning is like an A tier, like a low A tier, but a high B tier map. So I'll agree with you on that one. We got it from Zenix C, and he says, it's a great map overall. I love the bosses and the Easter egg. The story, however, is terrible. Panos and Blanchard felt completely useless. Gorgafix is awful, and the ending cutscene is a huge letdown. Still, I'm excited to see Primus return. Now, the Gorgafix, I think it's decent. It's not the best, it's not the worst, but again, a new update's been out for it, so it might be good now. But I do gotta agree, the biggest thing about the Reckoning that pisses me off the most was Panos and Blanchard. Panos and Blanchard hardly talked to each other at all. Blanchard hardly talked to Richtofen, especially when Blanchard was saved by Richtofen in the Liberty Falls intro cutscene. And the whole of Black Ops 6 Zombies, by the way, spans over the course of 10 days in the storyline. Why the hell did they not talk to each other? And Panos was built to be this mysterious guy who was a soul trapped in the Dark Ether to steal souls from real life human beings to get his soul back, to then just be killed just to become a Wonder Weapon upgrade. And then if you want the other Wonder Weapon upgrade, you could do the same to Blanchard. So what the hell was that about? No dialogue, just nothing. Panos didn't even mention who he was talking to. There was no intel mentioning it, like just nothing at all. So honestly, huge disappointment in terms of the writing of those two characters there. We're going from Lucario, and he says, it's an okay map, but it still has the same issues that plague every other BO6 map, which drags down what little enjoyment there was. I just don't see myself playing this map too much after completing the Easter egg, or really much BO6 at all afterwards, to be honest. Honestly, the same issue I had with BO4. Now, I don't know what issues he's indicating here with Black Ops 6 Zombies and BO4, but I'm going to guess he's talking about from a mechanic standpoint potentially, and I do understand that. I've said this many times in my videos and streams. I actually like the gameplay mechanics in Black Ops 6. The only problem is that they're the same mechanics we've seen in the past 4 years, but just changed slightly. So I gotta agree if that's what he's talking about. We're going from the Carborium, and he says, it's certainly a map that has some semblance of lore in it, but hey, the gameplay is fun still. Now, he's right about the gameplay, but don't worry, the Carborium, I've seen your tweets. I know how much you hate the Reckoning story.
Choose the party.
Oh my god. For fuck's sake.
It's understandable. We go on from Mala, and Mala says, it's interesting. From a technical standpoint, it's absolutely amazing and feels great to play. In brackets, even though high rounds are high rounds and monotonous, in my opinion. The story though, yeesh. We fell off an effing cliff after Terminus, it feels like. We just kept falling. Now, I definitely gotta agree, but again, I'll explain how I feel about the story in another video, but from Terminus to where we are now, yeah, I gotta agree. We got one from Spider-Man, and he says, despite my skill issues, I like the map. The layer is something I'll need to get used to, but I like to try versatile methods. I have to make Commando Klauses explode because I'm out of ammo by the time they show up. As of now, I haven't survived an Uber Klaus in about 4 tries. Rest in peace, this man. The Uber Klauses can't get you like that. They're not easy. Not at all. We got one from Catasio, and he says, after playing it today, the map itself feels like a 5 or a 6 out of 10. The story is a 0 out of 10, and that's all I got. The man has never been a fan of Black Ops 6 Zombies after launch. We got her from No Thumbs Cat, and she says, as somebody who's never going to play the map, it looks fine. Here's my reaction to the ending though. My expectations were low. But what the fuck? We got one from Too Bad for Xbox, and he says, I'm so happy with this ending, I can simp from Mommy Sammy again. Does that mean he was waiting for the robot to turn into humanoid Sam so he can then simp for her? Or was he then simping for robot Sam to then just become an ultimate simp for when Robot Sam turned into Human Sam? I don't think this man's mentally, like, stable. We got one from Revived, and he says, needs more 1A to be honest. I don't know what that means. I'm gonna guess I'm stupid, but okay. We got one from Zach the Baptist, and he says, absolute banger map. The story complaints are overblown. Black Ops 6 and 7 are clearly coping here. A 2-part story releasing months apart. The actual gameplay is fantastic. The design is fantastic. The quests and bosses are fun. best pack camo in the game. The only issue is them story issues, but I'm willing to see them out with Black Ops 7. The only hope is Requiem Crew is still around, as I'd prefer to play them overall. A banger map, this and Shattered Vale are my faves. Now, I do gotta agree, I do like the design. The best pack camo in the game though, I gotta disagree. You have the Tomb, Terminus and Shattered Vale being like ultimately better in my opinion, so I gotta disagree with you on that one in terms of the pack punch camos. But the gameplay itself is fantastic. I don't think the story about people's complaints are completely overblown. I mean, I get it. A lot of people didn't want to see these characters return, which I get it. People want them to rest. But at the same time, you know, I like how we're seeing a new version of them. If it was Primus or Ultimus, I'd be on the bandwagon for everyone else. But the fact that we're seeing a new version of them, I'm actually okay with that. My problem is, how the hell are they here? Why the hell did they appear like that? Why was there only one line of dialogue for the whole cutscene no matter what ending you get? Why is it just, welcome to the party? Like, what is that? I completely understand where people are coming from in terms of the story. But again, we're just DC. And I think we are going to get like an Alpha Omega-esque type of crew where it lasts from the launch of BO7 to the end of BO7, where you can play as both the ex-Requiem crew, Grey, Maya, Carver, or Weaver, or you can play as the new version of the OG4 crew, being Richtofen, Dempsey, Takio, or Nikolai. I think that would be really cool in my opinion, so we'll just see how it goes. Please make that happen, Shark, by the way. We got one from I'm So Awesome Face, and he says, I'm torn. I'm happy with the map overall, but I can't pretend like I'm not a little disappointed by the story though. That's what everyone's feeling like, and I definitely do gotta agree as well. One thing that did strike me is a tweet was made recently with Weaver admitting that he knew about Richtofen's wife and kid being killed by his own hand when the hit was originally supposed to be Richtofen for years. But in Shattered Vale, he stated that he just figured out. Well, he didn't state it, but it made it very obvious that he had just figured out by Richtofen. But ages ago, which was back in 2020 or 2021, Weaver stated in a piece of Cold War intel that he revealed to S.A.M that he knew for years that he was supposed to kill Richtofen, but accidentally he had killed his wife and child. So why did he act surprised in Shattered Vale as if he just figured that out for the first time? And then all of a sudden, the next map, he acts as if he knew this whole time. It made no sense to me at all. The story's whack in BO6, but again, for another video. We got one from Chad, and he says, if I said it aloud, I might get cancelled. This is the most positive man for Call of Duty Zombies and just Call of Duty as a whole, so don't hate this man. Here's his opinion. It's my favourite map in Black Ops 6 Zombies, and probably one of my faves in Modern Zombies. Love the location and verticality, love the new special and elite enemies, love the main quest, love both bosses and their round 100 variants, love the new upgradable trap, love high rounding on the mutant research catwalk, love the Gork effects, extremely powerful but doesn't allow you to just AFK. Liking the side easter eggs and hopefully Ether Blade soon. This whole map is a big W and I haven't been able to put it down all weekend. Now the majority of this I gotta agree, but one thing I gotta point out is the Ether Blade. For anyone who doesn't know the Ether Blade, it was actually a schematic tool that you could use in Modern Warfare Zombies. It was basically like the Dark Ether version of the Hell's Retriever, but it was a Dark Ether Blade. Like, it was actually very cool and helpful within Modern Warfare Zombies. They brought that back in the Reckoning, but here's the problem. People, and I mean people for ages, were side Easter egg hunting on how to get it. But the problem is, it was locked behind a vault, and the only way to do it is if you had the Mr. Peaks field upgrade. But the thing is though, it's not out yet. You could only get it if you somehow leaked or hacked into the game, which leakers did manage to do. Or you wait the long period of time for the event to come out so then you can unlock it. That is one of the most stupidest and most disappointing things Treyarch has ever done in the whole of Call of Duty Zombies. Never pull that shit again, Treyarch. Please. Like, that is just fucking tragic. We got one from Eric, also known as PhD Flapper Man, and he says, gameplay is engaging and fun for the most part, but the story is a complete disappointment. The writers were huffing paint fumes with the final map. It had no weight and carried no energy. Now, he's put an image of the retconning. Again, I don't think there was any retconning. Again, this is a new version of the OG4. It's not Primus or it's not Ultimus. Again, they're dead. And if the theory is right and the Central Artifact has reopened the multiverse, it's not really a retcon. The only thing that would be disappointing is, what was the whole point in their deaths? But again, Craig Houston stated on the launch of the Cold War Zombies live reveal that the characters were half right, so maybe in Black Ops 7 we'll figure out what was the other half that they needed to do in order to end Call of Duty Zombies as a whole. We'll just see what happens. We got one from Joe G. Insane, and Joe G. Insane says, it was all a waste of hype, to be fair. The ending was just very weak. Not much is explained about things from Modern Warfare Zombies or even the Chaos story as much. The Central Artifact barely had a role to play in the story, especially especially during the beginning to the half, and that's it. Which I do gotta agree. Where the hell is Ava Jansen? We had 3 maps set in Liberty Falls being launched, DLC 3 and DLC 4. Where is Ava Jansen? She was gone sucked in to a Dark Aether portal in Liberty Falls, and she's Samantha's daughter. She plays a huge role in the Dark Aether story, so where the hell is she? So I gotta agree with Joel there. And on top of that, why is the Chaos Story stuff going downhill? Having some Chaos Story elements be a part of the Dark Aether story was what made Terminus in the Dark Aether story hype at the time of launch. So why did it all of a sudden start to decline? With Citadel Daymore, then the Tomb, then Shard Vale, to then the Reckoning. Like, all we know is that the Central Artifact can release zombies, it can make zombies, but we didn't know the other abilities that it had. Why did it start to kill us? Why did it start a trial to kill us at the time of the Tomb? How could it open up the multiverse if that theory is true? Like, how is this even possible? There's no explanation to the Sentinel Artifact's abilities, so I gotta agree. And I just want to pop in here and say this. Treyarch did say at the launch of Black Ops 6 Zombies that even though Intel is in Black Ops 6 Zombies, they're mainly going to explain the stories through cutscenes, and I definitely like that. But with how Black Ops 6 Zombies has went, it's not really been like that, and the intel hasn't really helped. Now granted, there was a lot of intel in Black Ops Cold War Zombies, and I mean there was way too much, and I'm glad that in Black Ops 6 Zombies there isn't a lot. But if Treyarch has no choice but to add in a shit ton of intel just to explain what's happening throughout the whole entire story, and just maybe go down the Cold War route and make it so it's somewhat simple to explain through cutscenes, then by all means Treyarch, please do. But don't add in like 678 plus intel like you did with Cold War. Make it max like 30 each map or something. Intel that actually explains what is going on throughout the whole map, and then the future of the storyline. Where is it going? Past events that still need to be explained. Like, please, while still making cutscenes explainable for people that just don't want to listen to the intel. Cold War done a better job, but they only did a better job because there was a whole shit ton of intel. We should not have to rely on a shit ton of intel. We should be able to learn from cutscenes and intel, but not a lot of intel. Not a lot at all. We got one from Smoking Joe, and Smoking Joe says, it's a real good and well designed map. The character building of our main crew is amazing. Take out the ending and you have an 8 out of 10 map, but that ending just doesn't work well in my opinion. Yes, it could be done well, but right now it means nothing except a retcon, and that for me is a 6 out of 10. Now again, until I have confirmation, I gotta disagree. I don't think it's a retcon. It's not Premise, it's not Ultimus, it's a newer version of the OG4. I'm still betting that the Sentinel Artifact opened up the multiverse again. My problem is, how did it do that? How does the Sentinel Artifact have the ability to do that? And if it did, why are the OG4 back? Wouldn't it make sense to bring back the Chaos Crew? Which I honestly would have much rather preferred in my opinion. On top of that, one of the few things I really do like about this map that did clear some confusion within the community is, why the hell is Maya still here? After Citadel Daymore and Maya got her revenge after what Franco did to Nathan, Maya was just there. And in my mind, I was just thinking Maya was just there to help the characters to get their revenge after them helping her get her revenge for Nathan. And there's a piece of intel in Reckoning which confirms that, and Maya is still here to help out the people that helped her in the end. So honestly, thank you Treyarch for addressing that issue at least. We got one from Resdov.ceo of Res Mason. I don't know why, but I thought I said Amazon for a second. And Resdov says, the gameplay's nice, but god does it get overshadowed by the shitty story. At least for me. I was really looking forward to it, but the Blanchard and Panel side plot to be developed more, especially since they really grew on me and was met with a slap in the face just used as one of the weapon saves. 100% gotta agree. Blanchard Panels were shit in this map in terms of the story. There could have been a lot more for Panels. Blanchard could have had a lot more interaction with Richtofen, but it never happened. But I don't think it overshadows the map in terms of gameplay. I just think it's something that you're just expecting if you're doing the Easter egg and you're going, woohoo, I'm gonna witness something that doesn't make sense when I do this Easter egg. But you can still enjoy a great boss fight, a great Easter egg, and if you're just chilling the map to play with friends, the map does that successfully in my opinion. We got one from Shelly, and Shelly says, a very fun map with a good layout and good enemies, with the strongest Easter egg out of them all in my opinion. Great bosses. In my opinion, the moral dilemmas between the characters leading up to the final choice and the feud between S.A.M and Richtofen was well done, but the ending was rushed and abrupt. Again, I agree with everything, and that's all I gotta say. The ending was rushed and abrupt, especially with that one line line of dialogue in that whole entire cutscene of the finale of Black Ops 6 Zombies. We got one from Praise, and Praise says, the map is respectful about our expected DLC 4 and confirmation my vision about this game. Don't make sense, you make the best map in the story of the mode if it doesn't have a good crew. Terminus crew is one of the worst of the mode, and a good narrative. Now, I do gotta say this, I'd rather prefer the Terminus crew than have no crew at all. I will say that. And just the thought of playing story characters are great, but I gotta say, if it really wasn't for the SAG after strike, you know, with the whole AI voices, I genuinely wonder what the Black Ops 6 Zombies, you know, crew lines would have been like. That's just something that you could just gotta imagine there. We got one from Matthias Mason, and Matthias says, gameplay wise, it's great. 2 boss fights with a different ending is cool, but the weapon's okay, pretty cool side Easter egg, story's just okay, really cool map design, so overall, I'd give it like at least a solid 8 or 8.5 out of 10. 100% agree. We got one from Love Godzilla Titanic, and Love Godzilla Titanic says, it's the most fun Zombies has been for years, probably since Dead Night in my opinion, but my god, that story makes me want to avoid it completely. Again, I'll explain the story in a different video, but to say it's the best Zombies map in years since Dead Night is crazy to me. Like, Ancient Evil is my favourite map of all time. Did you not like Ancient Evil, bro? We got one from Burn the Alt, and Burn the Alt says, I think it's the best BO6 map until the very last cutscene. It would have been an S, but dropped down to an A almost immediately for me. Now, I've seen like some similar comments here that I'm reading here, like a lot of people saying it would have been higher if it wasn't for that ending cutscene. Again, it just shows you that, granted the gameplay may be great, but if the story was just so much more impactful and so much more in depth and actually made mostly more sense, it would have been better. Again, if it were for Zombies, I'm telling you, it's not the best Zombies whatever, but if it had a lot more in depth with its story and it managed to explain the characters' backstories a lot more and just in general was not like the Aethra story but had more depth like the Aethra story, I generally do think it could have been the best Zombies mode of all time. We got one from Pam, and Pam says, I enjoy it. There are some great replayability and it's quite fun to speedrun so far. Story wise, it's quite lackluster, especially like niche, but after any boss fight and you click to continue, the game feeds you voice lines and dialogue as if nothing happened. Why S.A.M talk she did? Well, this isn't S.A.M, it's the S.A.M AI going into the new S.A.M body. And there's a lot of speculation whether or not if S.A.M's dead or not, but I don't know, we'll just see what happens. If maybe she is alive in BO7, but as of right now, no one knows. We got one from the bowling shoes from Liberty Lane saying, like, the fuck? The map made solely to set up an optional wonder weapon upgrade. That is honestly sad. Liberty Falls is honestly an odd bad map, but the fact that Panos and Blanchard, the main 2 characters of this map, were for their fate just to be an optional wonder weapon quest is honestly disappointing, because you don't need to do them. If you do them, you don't learn a lot from them. You don't learn a lot behind Panos' moves. You don't get to hear what Blanchard really wants out of all this. It's just disappointing. We got one from Ted, and Ted says, gameplay is very good, especially on the front of special enemies. The Uber classes don't feel too tanky and don't have super BS attacks. Map flows really well. The story on the other hand is ass. BO6's story has been really bad, and there is no different. They leave so much stuff untouched that they set up maps ago. Blanchard and Panos being reduced to a wonder weapon upgrade is stupid. The Forsaken going from an almost unbeatable god to a part, and again the wonder weapon is stupid. The story really holds it back. My only other problems are things that are built into the game, like no shield instead of armor, the box being obsolete, setup costs being ridiculously expensive with the questionable point system, etc. Now, the last comment, that's just a mechanical thing that I've explained so many times in my videos about Black Ops 6 Zombies, but in terms of the wonder weapon quest, you gotta keep in mind, the Forsaken, when you hear quotes from him inside the little ball that he was in, it sounds like he's worn down, and it sounds like when Sam went into the Forsaken, he did warm down a lot, and when the Forsaken had one chance to go inside a body that gave him a better strength, he was definitely going to take it. So I definitely gotta disagree on that terms, but in terms of Panos and Blanchard being shit on the map, yeah, I gotta agree. And then the Uber classes, again, I really like them. They're actually fairly balanced, in my opinion. I got one from Mesmerus, and Mesmerus says, best gameplay in all of BO6. I don't know if I agree with that or not, but happy you feel that way. We got one from Elk, and Elk says, Weaver. Why is he an egg? We got one from Minsky, #1 Clark S Nova fan, and Minsky says, it has a nice layout. The wonder weapon's cool, has map unique mechanics which the game has needed. Blanchard and Panos being wasted isn't great, wish they were an actual part of the main quest. The soundtrack is astounding, but that's to be expected with Black Ops 6. And let me just say, the soundtrack from the start of BO6 to the finale of BO6 has been non-stop great alongside the boss fight, so definitely gotta agree. And most of this comment I definitely do agree as well, with Panos and Blanchard being garbage. We got one from Unkindled Ashley, and Unkindled Ashley says, the core gameplay is solid, the map itself looks amazing, however the story is actually terrible. Blanchard and Panos got set up to be these people we need to look out for them to just be used as Wonder Weapon part, and they literally do nothing. Same the Forsaken, you know, the big bad guy who caused all these problems. Yeah, we just straight up kill him for an effing Wonder Weapon part. Then there's the ending, which I don't want to get into, but it's bad. Yeah, most of this comment I do agree, so I get how you feel. We got one from XK Grimes, and XK Grimes says, reminds me of an Advanced Warfare map. I don't know why I find that kind of funny, because there is some Advanced Warfare elements mixed into this map, and the first thing that I think Exo Zombies with this map is the mop and bucket step. That is like the biggest Exo Zombies Easter egg set ever. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know, but it was wacky. It was stupid, it was funny, it was stupid. We're going from the Veil Entity, and the Veil Entity says, aside from the dumbass storytelling, the map is pretty fun. The layout is unique, the anti-gravity room is sick, and looks cool. In general, Uber Klaus and Commander Klaus are really cool enemies, which they were the only one beside the zombies in the main gameplay. Gotta agree about everything in this comment, and I have to put in this comment, this map has the best Pack-a-Punch quest out of the whole of Black Ops 6 Zombies. I said I wanted a cool Pack-a-Punch quest, and we kinda got one. Well, not the coolest, and I'd rather still objective markers were still taken away. I thought the Pack-a-Punch quest was actually decent and quite cool. The gravity room is nice also. I love training in there, and I love just getting all the kills in there. It's satisfying, it's fun, and going up against like the bosses in there, like the Doppelgas and Uberklauses, it's fun. We got one from Wolfsleuth, and Wolfsleuth says, one of the best BO6 maps gameplay wise. The crew's dialogue is really good here, but the story is really iffy. Cool that there's multiple paths for the Wonder Weapon, also Elena's back. Thank God. And the multiple paths for the Wonder Weapon, it's cool, but the whole thing for it being for Panos and Blanchard's story, it sucks ass. We got one from Scary Salad, and Scary Salad says, Die Rise, but good. I don't mind Die Rise, but I gotta say, if the layout from The Reckoning was kind of like that for Die Rise, the Die Rise hate would not be as bad. We got one from Atsu Taker, and Atsu Taker says, I liked it. Breaking Bad. We got one from Rody, and Rody says, the story isn't bad. The way for which the story is delivered, along with the inconsistencies within the lore across Cold War and Modern Warfare Zombies and BO6, is a huge problem. There's really a payoff in the storylines that feel meaningful, and I definitely do gotta agree. You can take it from a simple standpoint and go, oh, this happened, that's cool, or this happened, but the problem is, how did it happen? How did the OG4 come here? Did the Central Artifact open up the multiverse? That's the problem that I need to know. Then we got one from Undying Magnus, and Undying Magnus says, the gameplay is fun, the low gravity and the pack room is fun, the Gorgon Fix is cool, and the Uber Klaus is fun to go up against. Narratively, they dropped the ball, I feel. Blanchard and Panos and the Forsaken could have had more relevance, and it should have been Chaos or Victor's Return in my opinion. I gotta say, it should have been Chaos. That would have made the more sense, it would have been a lot more cooler, and a lot of people would have loved this map a whole lot more. And it would have given the Chaos story implications within this BO6 zombie storyline a lot more hype. So, all around, it seems like a lot of people do like The Reckoning for its gameplay, not for its story. And because of its story, it's affected the future of zombies going forward and the whole of Black Ops 6 Zombies. But I'll explain that in a different video. All around, I think The Reckoning is an A to B tier map, and I enjoy it, and I still want to play it till this day. So honestly, let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about The Reckoning. Do you guys agree about what I said about The Reckoning? Do you guys agree with what the community thinks about The Reckoning? Let me know. But guys, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you'll have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you all within the next video or live stream. And goodbye.